Yo, what is up?
What's going on?
It's the heaviest time of the bloody year, Gary.
It's the most riffiest time. Been looking forward to this one.
How you doing, brother? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Do you like my? I was going to wear a Christmas jumper, but 2024 hasn't been particularly kind to my waistline, and none of my Christmas jumpers fit me. So I'm wearing my Christmas hat, although I'm probably going to take it off in like 2 minutes because it's really hot.
I'm glad somebody's doing the festive business.
I'm trying.
Yeah. I'm glad. It's nice. Is that little Christmas pudding vibe? Is that what that is?
Yeah,
like a Christmas pudding?
That's exactly what it is. I did have a bit
Very
of tinsel
nice.
that I was going to put up as well, but I tidied it away and then I was like, oh shit, and I can't be bothered to go back and find it in the garage with everything else. So this is as Christmassy as we're going to get in here right now. My house looks amazingly Christmassy, but that's all behind the door. So sorry, you missed out on that one.
Mate, we have a lovely, lovely show. We've got, it's the end of the year. It's the end of the year awards. We're doing it slightly differently to how we've done it previously. I think last time we changed it up, and I think this time we've changed it up, and I think it's going to be even more betterer than it was.
Even betterer still.
Yeah, I think it's going to be bloody lovely. So we've got genres to go through, and then we've also got awards, some fun things like the much coveted barbecue album of the year 2024.
It's a big one.
Hotly contested, no doubt.
We'll get into it.
So yeah, it's all going to be. It's largely so everything.
So excited you can't even speak.
I'm so excited I literally cannot even formulate a sentence. Yeah, it's all been submitted by the homies. So we're going to go through each of them. We're going to go through the runners up, have a little chat, and then let's get it going, mate. Let's do it.
Where do you want to start? Should we start with something
You're
big?
In charge, Gary.
Start with some juicy. Should we start with hardcore?
Yes, go on.
Hardcore, mate. Let's get stuck right into hardcore. You're in the driving seat though. Come on. What have we got? What have the lovely, beautiful homies selected as their favourite hardcore albums of the year?
So hardcore. What are we expecting to be seeing here, realistically?
Wow,
big speed, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's got to be a big year for speed.
There's bound to be speed. I've obviously got my own little short list that I've been keeping up with, and speed's definitely very, very high on said list. I would also probably expect Kubla Khan to feature relatively highly because I mean, it's
exhibition of prowess.
I'm too hot.
Is it going?
And there's my head, Gary's head. Podcast first. Gary's awful head. Look at it.
You look very shaved. Have you freshly shaved it? It looks very nice.
I didn't want to put too much of my receding hairline on the internet, so I shaved it. Now I wish I had a baseball cap on. I might go put one on. I feel you can
put one on if you want.
I feel exposed. I'm doing it.
So hardcore. Third place is Sorcerer.
Now everyone's seen my Umbro shorts that I'm wearing. Yeah, and I've got to put my headphones back on. Oh no!
I didn't hear that.
What did I do? What did I do this for? That's so stupid of me. All right, I'm back.
Right, okay.
My seat's dropped. Oh my god! I should not have gotten up. I feel better though that I've got my head hidden away. I don't like it. I don't like exposing my head.
No worries. I think we'll cut that anyway.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So hardcore. Third place is Sorcerer Devotion. That was an absolute banger of an album.
Hell yeah.
Absolute banger.
I had not even thought about that record.
It's great. And the cover's nearly as good as the album. It's the geezer with the chainmail geezer.
The cover's absolutely amazing. It could be a hardcore album or it could be a period drama.
Yeah. Second place, Kubla Khan. Exhibition of prowess.
That absolutely makes sense. That album,
absolute beast of a record.
It just ruled, didn't it? It just rips. Obviously, there's another category later on in the show for vocal performance of the year, and I think no one would be against the idea of Matt Honeycutt receiving that award either, because he just absolutely destroyed that album. The lyrics just there's so many moments in that record that just still make me happy, but particularly Put Your Skull Through a Wall as a mosh call is one of the greatest moments in music this year, I would say. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, there are few moments as joyous to me realising that Amp Pile 2 was on the record.
That was already one of my highlights of the year before I'd even heard it. Just when I read the track list, I was like, right, Amp Pile 2, going to be amazing. So before you give us the Heavyists album, hardcore album of the year, is there anything that you had in your list that has not featured that you would have that you would like to just mention that was absolutely fantastic?
No,
from
to be
hardcore?
honest, I don't think I've jammed much hardcore this year outside of the few records that we've been chatting about. I know there's a lot more sort of like, the punkier end of hardcore that I've totally not had time for. I think I've just been completely drowning in death metal recently.
Yeah,
and,
it has
it's been
been
fantastic.
a bit of that. There's a couple that I just wanted to just drop out there.
Yeah,
Watch
yeah.
Me Bleed by Missing Link, because I thought that album was absolutely
That was sick.
brilliant.
That was hard as hell.
So hard. And I'm classifying this in hardcore myself. It's Freak Dreams by Slope. I think, obviously they're a very eclectic band, and they do a lot of things, and they're influenced from bloody Sublime to System of a Down. But I would still classify that as a hardcore album in its energy and its like ethos. And that, if you are Spotify, that's my favorite album of 2024. Like, I think the fact that it came out in like the beginning of February makes that a bit of a cheat, because obviously it did well in my Spotify Wrapped because I listened to it so much. But yeah, I would classify Freak Dreams in there, and I thought that album was absolutely amazing.
So the top spot, right, is a tie. It's a tie. First place. Ooh. Yeah, it's Candy. It's Inside You, and Speed. Nice. Only one mode. And they've both got about 44% of the votes each. They're
damn.
Smashing it.
Between them, got 88% of the votes.
Or sharing. Maybe sharing. Sorry, sharing 44%. But like, yeah, so a hard 22% each.
I mean, they both make a lot of sense. The Candy album, Candy really like leveled up this year, in my estimations. They became like a proper force. Like, I'm really glad they figured out how to make the industrial noise and the hardcore stuff work together really well.
Yeah, the RoboCop rock was real, dude. It ruled. So and
then
Speed and Candy.
Speed. Only one mode by Speed. Phenomenal record.
What's mental to think is that was actually Speed's debut album.
Yeah.
They're sort of synonymous with hardcore.
They are. They're just
in short time,
name, aren't they?
They're just it's fantastic. It was a brilliant record. Loved all the Bruce Lees throughout. It was fantastic. Yes, it was just an absolutely wonderful bundle of energy, and one of my favorite thumbnails to make this year, putting me and you on that record.
Yeah, I mean, thumbnail of the year was a category that I would have liked for us to just do between us, but there was quite a lot of really good ones, but that one was a particular great note. I'm glad nobody saw me posing to take my pictures.
It was so funny. It was so funny. Like, taking the pictures in my room, I looked like an absolute idiot. And yeah, I'm glad nobody saw that.
Yeah, that would have been brutal.
So yeah, Speed and Candy. We'll see how many there are that are split. I mean, do we decide between us if they're both split? I think I'm going to go Speed.
Yeah, I think I think it's almost like the objective right answer, isn't it? Speed as the hardcore album of the year, because like you said, they are so synonymous at this point. Like, you feel like they formed in the early 90s and they've been around forever. They're just so perfect in their encapsulation of the energy and the sound of a hardcore band.
Yeah, absolute beast. Fantastic.
Amazing.
That was it. That's the first one
of the year. Only
hardcore
one mode
album of
by
the year,
Speed.
Only one mode.
Amazing.
Boom.
Wicked. Right. I reckon, should we go to like the opposite end of the spectrum? Should we go to like dissonant and technical?
Yes.
Right. I'm going to be in charge of this one this time. Just let me pull up the old little jobby. First of all, we have... Press the wrong button, Gary. Oh my God. Fluffed this right up. Aransi Pazuzu, the name of the album I cannot pronounce, and Replicant Infinite Morality are tied second.
Brilliant.
Infinite Mortality. So they are, I'll be honest, I didn't really listen to the Aransi Pazuzu album very much. I feel like an idiot for doing so, but I feel like you probably listened to it more enough to make up for my lack of listening to it.
Yeah, it was superb. It was exactly as twisted and brilliant as you've come to expect from Aransi. It was a really, really cool album. So I'm definitely not surprised to see it there. And Replicant as well. I'm so stoked that Replicant's like voted so high. That's a band that we absolutely love. They've gone from strength to strength. Yeah, and that album, that was like out in January. I swear we had that. I swear we were listening to that on promo like in like November last year or something like that.
We got sent out a good 6 months out. Been listening to that album a long time. For a long time, I was thinking like that's probably going to be my favorite album of the whole year. Like, I was just so sure. It was such a brilliant record, and it is like taking the kind of sound of a band that they have and making it like moshable is not something that a lot of bands are capable of. Like this sort of dissonant, chaotic, horrible music that we love. It's a head swimmer, but it's not something you can get down in the pit to. Whereas Replicant just make that work somehow, and I think they're phenomenal for it. I'm pretty sure I already know what the answer to the most popular dissonant metal album of the year is going to be. But is there anything else before I drop the number one on you that you wanted to shout out?
Resin Tomb.
Yeah, I was going to shout out Resin Tomb as well.
It was fantastic. That was debut from them. The previous EP was brilliant. Sort of similar in Replicant to its DNA.
Yeah,
mosh and dissonance coming together.
Absolutely.
From Australia, like just a beautiful, beautiful album.
Outrageous step up from their first EP to the album as well in terms of just sheer quality, rage, production value. Like every element was an improvement for Resin Tomb. I also wanted to big up Moon Healer by Job for a Cowboy. It was really awesome to have them back this year doing their thing. Just absolutely killing it. They're a band that I've been like, oh, Job for a Cowboy got to be coming back soon. And this year finally happened, and they really did live up to the expectation. And I'm sure this is something that needs mentioning in your list, is Suffer and Become by Vitriol. That album still makes hurts my mind just to think about it. Like, it's one of the single most bewildering musical experiences I think I've ever had in my entire life. And I've listened to a lot of bewildering music, let me tell you that. But I still don't even know what way is up after I've listened to that record. Like, that album is phenomenal. This is all because I'm pretty sure that I know that the heaviest dissonant album of the year is Cutting the Throat of God by Ulcerate. Of course it is.
Of course.
It got 43% of the vote, so that's pretty bloody clear. That's nearly half of everyone picked that as the first place. I mean, Ulcerate were usually your thing, and I was kind of limping in, but I really feel like this year I understood Ulcerate. And then this album comes at you, and you're like, what the hell even am I listening to? They managed to make it so dissonant that it comes all the way back around to being melodic again. Like, it's crazy. The term goat gets thrown around a lot these days, but in terms of dissonant death metal, Ulcerate are the goat, aren't they? They just are.
Yeah, they just weave glorious dissonance into such spectacular mental melodies that they're just really sort of unique thinkers in the field when it comes to like making extreme music, and everything they do just comes across just bloody gorgeous.
It's funny because it's a wildly experimental genre of music, but often you do hear a lot of bands who do the same kind of things. They have the same kind of ideas, they use the same sort of dissonant chord patterns and stuff. But Ulcerate they just revolutionize this sound every time they come out with a new record, and this album's incredible, absolutely incredible. Like, if we were still just picking our own, this is what I would have picked for sure as top of this category. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, can't argue with that one at all, can we?
No, love it. Ulcerate, Cutting the Throat of God, best disso of the year, voted by the Heavyist.
Disso of the year.
Next, I'm going to do Mathcore next.
Okay.
Mathcore, there's been some really, really cool records this year. Western Supermame.
Yeah, for sure.
Phenomenal.
For sure.
See You Tomorrow, The God Awful Truth, All That Dark and All That Cold, and Better Lovers. They're the three that are the top in the category, and all of them are so it's a three-way tie. Funnily enough, it's a three-way tie. For me, my winner in that is The God Awful Truth. I would
argue with you that it's actually See You Tomorrow, Baby by Western Supermame. Like, I think Western Supermame released such a great album that Frontiera just bottled it and released an EP. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, true. It was so bloody good. It sounded like $1 million, didn't it? It huge.
Did. Also, I just want to shout out Tendrils, Long Dead. That's another fantastic UK-based mathcore band that released a really, really
banging
awesome
record
album this year. Yeah, so we're a bit of an impasse here, son, because it's a split vote from the Heavyist, and it's a split vote from me and you.
And I
Who's
know
going to
none of
budge?
us. I know neither of us want to call Better Lovers the album either. That's the thing.
No, that's crazy, really, to think of that. Better Lovers, band that's 3/5 of my favorite band of all time, aren't going to get mentioned by me today. They just, well, they have, but they weren't until somebody else brought them up, which is kind of disconcerting. But like, what do we do here? I think maybe I might concede and then take the one in the pocket, maybe if I might need it later on, to take over a category and pick the winner myself. Yeah, All That Dark and All That Cold by the God Awful Truth was an absolutely wicked record. I really like this sort of the kind of aggro, groovy Tony Danza type style that they had going on, and that kind of cowboyish crooning style vocal that he was throwing into places as well. Like, that's funny because usually Mathcore is a genre that I'm just absolutely plugged into all year, but for some reason it just wasn't really, it wasn't something I was like, I'm desperate to check out all of these Mathcore bands. But the God Awful Truth and Western Superman were two bands that really stuck with me all year. So yeah, I will concede that we can say that All That Dark and All That Cold by the God Awful Truth was Mathcore album of the year.
You go next,
mate.
Pick your category, brother.
Should we do an award or two?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do a couple of awards, and then we'll come back to genres. I reckon we should look at debut, best debut album.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of lines. We've got must have an honourable mention for Cerebral Purgatory by Resin Tomb as an honourable mention. So that's so sick to see. That's so sick to see. Mine, I'm pretty sure that mine isn't going to come up on this list, but I just really wanted to take an opportunity to shout out Morrow's album, The Gods We Thought We Were. Like, I just thought that was an absolutely incredible. It was hard to put it into a genre category because it spans so many genres. And, you know, like when we were talking to Zan on the show, and now he was saying that like they're too death metal for the hardcore shows and too hardcore for the death metal shows. And so they become a band that are difficult to categorize. But I would like to just shout out that would probably be my personal favorite debut of the year. But the favorite debut of the Heavyists this year was Only One Mode by Speed.
Yeah, it makes
well
sense,
deserving. Well
deserved
to be Only One Mode by Speed as the favorite debut album. I honestly didn't even occur to me that it was a debut because they're so seasoned and they're so legit that it's easy to kind of forget that they are actually on their debut album. Crazy to think, but yeah, that is fully justified on that one.
Love it.
Should we do another cheeky little award before we move on to another genre?
Yeah. Let's do label.
Okay, label.
So for me, my label of the year is Transcendent Obscurity. They have just been phenomenally consistent. There's just been so many great records on that. Like, you know, we're talking about Replicant and Resin Tomb, and then like some really, really cool, like very unsung records, like the Baron record,
Last of Lucy. That was an amazing
Divinial
album.
Verdict record.
Yes, Divinial Verdict. Construct of Lethe is another really awesome one. Monument to Misanthropy. That was another release. There was a lot of incredible records that came out through Transcendent Obscurity, and I just really love what they do. Like the way that it's kind of set up to, you know, it's not like, oh, you got to do all of this for us because we've signed you. It's more like, it's almost like it's just a cosign of a band. Like here's a band, and the guy, what's the guy's name? Canal. He's like, this band are amazing, and as a result, I'm gonna sort of put my name against them and say, yeah, this band are on a Transcending Obscurity level of quality. And you know, there's no pressure. There's no, you know, you need to do 100 shows a year or anything like that. Like it doesn't work like that. It's just like a yes, this is something you should be checking out. And it's almost like people follow the label and hear about new bands rather than the other way around, which is generally how it works. And I just really like that about them.
Yeah, it's very much a certificate of awesomeness being on Transcendent Obscurity.
There we go. Thank
you. And I really like the way that they do all their merch and stuff. They have quite a really wide range of merch for bands. Like they'll put like back patches and bags and stuff, and like
mugs,
like
of business,
mugs and like, you know, like denim jackets and shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
They're
And
killing
as a nerdy merch head as well, they're always really good quality, which
Yeah.
I think is really important. They come on really good, heavy duty, decent shirts, and
There's nothing worse than dropping 40 boys on a longie and it turning up and it's absolute garbage.
it's made out of like cheesecloth or something. Like it's a complete pile of crap. You're like, I wouldn't wipe my baby's sick off of his face with that t-shirt. It's so poor quality. That pisses me off no end. So what have the Heavyists gone for? I like to think that we're all of an equal mindset and that they've picked the same thing as us.
So third place is Profound Law. Second is a tie between Church Road and 20 Bucks Spin.
Absolutely.
Respect. So then number one is Transcendent Obscurity. Hell yeah. The homies know
well done,
homies.
Up. You know what is going on. Big up Transcendent Obscurity.
Hell
I don't think it is going to stop going into 2025 based on the inbox either. I think we've already got like 4 or 5 albums that come out next year that are all bangers. Big up to those guys over at Transcendent Obscurity, man. Absolutely awesome.
Fantastic. So sick. I wonder if he might be. Maybe we could get him on the podcast. That'd be a good one to have, wouldn't it? Somebody that runs a label.
I think I've mentioned it to him before. I think we should definitely follow that up. That'd be really cool to have a chat about how the logistics of that all work.
Love it.
Right, mate.
All right.
Should we do a genre?
Do a genre, Gary. Pick one.
He's picking at random. Deathcore. Deathcore's quite a... I don't know. It's been a bit of a weird year for deathcore for me. Usually deathcore's like a genre that I'm like crazy excited about, and every release it's coming out, I'm like, oh, I want to hear that. I want to hear that. But like, I don't know. It's just not. I've not had the hype for it myself this year that I usually would. Am I talking crazy, or do you agree?
I would say that there's a lot of sort of bands that are at the top of the genre at the moment that I'm not really bothered about. I would say that like there's a bit of a, I'm really enjoying this, like the old school resurgence. Like I think like your Psycho Frames are absolutely doing bits.
Yeah,
that sort of stuff. Like that's been
stuff
really
comes
great.
Under EP, doesn't it? So it's not like a deathcore albums that have been really exciting.
So, was it like the Enterprise, that Enterprise Earth album this year, the one that was like the most all over the place mental
it was. It was like an hour and a half of like every idea that those guys have ever had in their entire lives. That was definitely this year. Yeah. Should we just get into what the Heavyists have picked so we can, let's see what's all right. In third place, we have got From the Gut of Gaia by Underneath. Just in
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it.
I mean, it would be one of mine too. It's a shame it's not one of the band's favorite deathcore albums of the year, but we'll gloss conveniently past that. Number 2, Terrified of God by Vomit Forth. This is on my list as well.
I was about to say that was the one I wanted to talk about because it was this basically. I don't think anybody expected it to be like sound like a deathcore record, but I think it, you look at it and you've got to classify it that way.
I totally agree.
They accidentally made like one of the best deathcore records ever. Like
I don't know that it's too good to have been accidental. Like it's just obviously they're clearly influenced by that, like what we're talking about, like the Suicide Silence, the early Whitechapel, like old school deathcore end of the sound. Like that's clearly a big chunk of what they do. But then if you look at like See the Malevolence, they obviously were really into really like lo-fi scuzzy death metal from the 90s as well. And I think that like when you take those two ends of the scale of influence, and funnily enough, genres of music that don't sound that different but actually have such completely different approaches and ethoses and scenes that hate each other as well, which is kind of crazy. But then you kind of take all of that, you roll it into an album, and this is what you get, and it's absolutely amazing. And I really wanted to just big up Kane, the vocalist of this band, because we saw him this year. He's kind of a disheveled looking dude. He's got like ratty dreads and a little bit of a paunch, and he doesn't look like he should be as legit as he is. Like his performance on this album is awesome. When in a world where you get presented so many like well put together, ready for Instagram types like Will Ramos, it's really nice to see just someone like Kane who's just an absolute legit badass vocalist, and he's not worried about his image or how many likes he gets. All he wants is to make absolutely sick music and do the best performance that he possibly can. I think I love him, and I'm really glad that got shouted out for second place here. But number 1, Deathcore album of the year is, it's not going to surprise anybody, it's The Nothing That Is by Fit for an Autopsy. Of course it is. It's like a field. It's like when Usain Bolt used to do the 100 meters, really, isn't it? Like, everyone else is just there for a participation medal because Usain Bolt's always just going to steam it, and it's very much the same with Fit for an Autopsy. Incredible record. Got to see him. We didn't talk about seeing him on the show, did we? Because it kind of happened and we didn't do a pod for a couple of weeks, but they were amazing live. You were very
superb.
drunk, which was quite amusing.
I enjoyed myself so much.
Something that really made me laugh was there was like a kid who was watching the show next to us, who I don't know, I would assume was there to see what they call Silosis, and he was just kind of nodding his head, and you just kept grabbing him and be like, what are you doing? Why are you not enjoying this more? Fit for an Autopsy, like one of the best bands in the world. This guy was like early 20s, if anything. Like, he was just getting shouted at by this, like, as far as he's concerned, proper full-grown adult. Like, who doesn't? It's like, what is wrong with you? It's so funny. At the end of it, the kid was like, "Okay, I'm sorry." I'm pretty sure he got his phone out and you made him save some Fit for an Autopsy albums on his phone. But
I'm out there doing the work, bro. I'm out there.
But yeah, The Nothing That Is just this best band in this scene leveling up yet again, really, isn't it?
Do you know what, as well? I've been listening to it so consistently, and the title track, The Nothing That Is, has got its roots into me so much more than previous. Like, it's just the background to my brain, man. I absolutely love it. It's still got its hooks right in me. There was so many brilliant moments on that record. Like, Lurch was so bloody heavy. It was so strained out on it, dude. It was and like the Red Horizon moment is one of the best bits of music this year. Like, the back end of that is one of the heaviest, hardest.
Incredible.
The sickest vocal break and the fucking most gigantic breakdown of the year. Just unreal.
Absolutely amazing. It just feels really good. It feels like I've seen their name around a lot more on this album cycle than maybe last time around. Like, it feels like people are catching on now. And, you know, we live in this world where everyone's always going on about headliners or who's going to be the next headliner. You know, there's like an era of headliners who are just getting too old for it. And now you're bringing in like Avenged Sevenfold, or you're bringing in like Machine Head, or like Lamb of God are coming in as like this next generation of like big metal headliners. And it really starting to feel like Fit for an Autopsy are getting ready to be that generation after that. And it feels like people are catching up to it now. And it's really exciting. It's really exciting to see. It just feels great when one of your favorite bands start getting recognized for the incredible band that they are, and they didn't have to do it by like pandering to what's current and just sticking to what they're amazing at. It feels really good. And I knew the Heavyists wouldn't fail me by picking it as Deathcore album of the year, because it is a banger. The Nothing That Is by Fit for an Autopsy. Son, pick a category, my dude.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Heavyist Adjacent. I think that's an interesting one. So it's a bit of a funny one, actually, because it's always been, so it's kind of there because it's one of our sections inside of the Discord, and it's kind of like a dumping ground for anything without riffs. Right?
Pretty much, it kind of becomes a category that is for everything that isn't metal, which, you know, maybe if we started like splitting out all of the sort of subsections of stuff that isn't under our direct remit, we'd literally be here for weeks. Like, it just become impossible. So we come up with Heavyist Adjacent as like stuff that isn't necessarily riff based but lives in our world, I guess.
Yeah. And like, for me, I think my Heavyist Adjacent record is the new Rome Streets record. I think that's like the rap album, man. It was absolutely sick. It's like one of the things that I've listened to the most that doesn't have like a breakdown in it. So that was my submission.
That's crazy. I mean, if we're talking hip hop, like, there's been some really sick hip hop records this year. I want to just shout out as Joey Valance and Bray, No Hands. That album is so fun, such a party. Probably shouldn't have as many references to Ben 10 as that one does, but it's amazing. Like, they've literally got a song called Omnitrix, which is awesome. Call me Ben 10 because I've got 10 Bens. Like, you can't really knock the amount of Ben 10 references. GNX by Kendrick Lamar obviously came out this year. It came out very late in the day, like the last day of November as a surprise. So I don't know, people might be like reeling from the release of that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was high up on Anthony Fantano's albums of the year list. But in terms of what the homies have selected, son, you're in charge of that one. What are we saying?
So it's Chelsea Wolf.
Oh, okay. I did have that
Chelsea
to shout
Wolf.
out. I did have that to shout out in my list because, like, I've had a bit of a history with Chelsea Wolf. You initially introduced me to her, and I remember just being absolutely blown away. But then I've always really focused on her riffier, heavier types of records, like Abyss and Hiss Spun.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is much more in that kind of like Bjork meets Nine Inch Nails kind of world. But it's actually a fantastic record, mate. This album, it is gorgeous. I don't know how, have you jammed it much? It's called She
honest,
Reaches Out to She Reaches Out to She, in case you haven't, you don't know. If you haven't jammed it much, I think you should, I always find Chelsea Wolf is the kind of person you've got to be in a particular headspace to listen to. It's not something you can just go, what shall I listen to today? Oh, Chelsea Wolf, that'll do. Like she's not that kind of artist at all. She's like, you sit down and you go, I'm having this kind of day. I need Chelsea Wolf in my life. So there was something else I also wanted to shout out, which is Foxing. Their album's really, really cool. It's a band I've heard the name of a lot in the last few years, but when people described them to me, I was not very interested. But somebody I can't remember who, but somebody in the Discord was bigging it up a lot. And so I was like, all right, let's give it a go. And the album is self-titled, and they go from sounding like Portugal the Man to sounding like full-blown screamo. Like it's really, really great record. They do a lot, they get a lot done, and they do it all very, very well. So was Chelsea Wolf, was that the group number one?
Yeah. She Reaches Out to She.
There's an album we haven't mentioned. That I don't know if that's because your people are categorizing it elsewhere, because I feel like it'd be mad if it wasn't being mentioned.
Yeah, I think we'll do Noise Rock next to settle that, because I think this is what I was thinking as well. And I think
well, let's do Noise Rock then. That's a good shout. So third place, You Could Do It Tonight by Couch Slut, which is something that I had written on my list as well. This is an absolutely sick record. Like, I think it came out when I was in Japan, which is why I was like, we should definitely be talking about this record on the show. But it was while I was in Japan, there was like, just wasn't enough time to get everything covered. But this album is just amazing. It's like, it's someone, I mean, I think the beauty of noise rock is it's a genre where people feel comfortable to just really just let themselves go and just kind of really put it all out there and be like, you know, you're probably going to think I'm really odd and weird after I do this, but I don't really give a shit. The Couch Slut album is exactly that. Megan, the vocalist, just really puts all her trauma, all her weirdness, everything that makes her, whether it's good or bad, on display on this record. And she just kind of goes, whether you like me or not afterwards, I don't give a fuck. Like, just, this is real. And that's what I love about it. And that's what I love about this album. And it's just someone peeling back that top layer and just going, this is my brain. Have a look at it. And it fucks up.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible.
Have a little look at this. This is mental. Yeah, it's an incredibly honest genre, and it just makes for brilliant, really weird, creative records.
Yeah, man. And if you're out there and you haven't listened to this album, listen to the song "The Donkey" off of this album, and you'll immediately know what it is I'm getting at, because it is mad. Right, number 2 is very split. We have the vast majority of this category went to first and second. Crippling Alcoholism with Love from a Padded Room.
Hell yeah.
This album, mate, it's completely just tore my world apart in 2024.
Yeah, it was unreal. It's still something I listen to regularly. Really loving seeing like the wider spread like adoration for it. I feel like it's really like got legs, and they're like popping up. I mean, they're coming over on Damnation.
Yeah, man.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Awesome. Like it's just so crazy to go from something that the first time I listened to it, I didn't like it. But I always think that like reacting to an album the first time but thinking, I'm not sure I like this, is better than reacting to it the first time and going, well, this is all right. Like, I feel like it's something that, like that, because it was like kind of that album where I didn't like it, but I wanted to work on that. I wanted to work, and I've got to the point now where like it's so bleak and it's so moody, but I think it's an album chock full of actual bangers. Like that's the point that I've got to. Is I've got Stockholm syndrome for this record. I swear. Like I just think this album is absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah, just like poppy choruses like wrapped around just like brilliant stark misery. Like it's fantastic. It's great. I had such a great time with this album, and yeah, had a really great chat with Tony on the podcast. That was fantastic.
You did. That was while I was in Japan. That was really cool to listen to.
They've recently been announced, so they're on the Portrayal of Guilt label, which is great. Like such a real good little pedigree, isn't it? Like that's, you know, Portrayal of Guilt, one of the most sort of interesting, creative, well-respected entities in this weird music that we love, and
absolutely,
it's so good to see them get the stamp of approval.
Yeah, dude. So the first place noise rock album of the year from the Heavyist is Cool World by Chatpile. Now we might have to overrule them here, I'm afraid.
I think we might have to.
I think we might have to overrule the group here. Like, honestly, I really, really tried with this Chatpile album. I've really tried because it's getting so much love everywhere. It's just getting showered with praise, and I get it. But for me, it feels a bit, I don't know, like they just kind of really tried to make an album full of whys, and it feels to me just a little bit disingenuous.
I had problems with it from day one, and I didn't really work on rectifying those problems with it because I couldn't really be asked. Me having a bit of a negative response to it, and then seeing everybody's outpouring just was like, I was like, what's going on? Like, it's not even the best Chatpile record. But yeah, so I'm surprised to see it there, to be honest. And then it's on like, is it like number one on like loads of lists and stuff that I've seen?
It's done
like,
really well this year.
You know,
in terms of
I must be missing something on this, or people just didn't listen to the old Chatpile record. Maybe. I don't know what that is.
Maybe, I don't know. It just felt like God's Country was so much more like like we were saying, like unhinged and just more like open and terrifying. And it felt to me like with this record, they heard everyone comparing them to Korn so much, they lent into it a bit too much, and it didn't really work for me, which is a shame because it's the number one selection under noise rock from the homies. It beat Crippling Alcoholism, which to me is absolutely balmy. Like that's one of the best albums of the year, full stop, as far as I'm concerned. So I think I might overrule the homies here and give noise rock to Crippling Alcoholism.
I like it. You're allowed, Gary. You got that card.
I'm playing it. I'm playing the I'm in charge card. I'm the host of What I Say Goes. Noise rock album of the year, Crippling Alcoholism with Love from a Panic Room. Sorry.
Fantastic.
Mate, do you want to do an award? Should we do a little?
Yeah.
I've got a good one. Should we do Best UK?
Yeah, let's do Best UK.
Let's do Best UK. Best UK album, number 3. Harriet, Devoured by the Mouth of Hell. And it's a number 3 with The Scythe is Remorseless by Yersin. So that came out like right at the beginning of January, didn't it, Yersin? That was like one of the first records that came out this year, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we had them on the pod. That was awesome.
Yep.
Just a fucking absolutely brilliant bunch of riffs, that record. A real ripper.
Proper terrified. She loves the D beat. Like that's gonna stay with me forever. And then Devoured by the Mouth of Hell by Harriet. Like there's a band who I can really see can potentially live up to their potential. Built that sentence better, couldn't you, Gary? There's a band who I really do believe that they could evolve into what everyone's kind of given them. I just feel like the hype is too much too soon, and it's potentially they might just peak too early before their music is as good as the amount of eyes that are on them. But I do think that was a really great record. I did really enjoy what they were doing, and it's definitely a massive step in the right direction. Number 2, is Slime Lord, and I can't pronounce this name of this record. Cryptomyocosis Relinquished. That's not how you say it at all. I've just completely flubbed it. But I loved this record, man. This was one of the weirdest things we listened to all year.
It was mental, wasn't it?
It was properly crazy.
Proper brain melter. Loved it.
Absolutely adored it. And it's easy to forget that they're even from England.
It's
Slime Lord.
Definitely the best record with Ducks on this year, that's for sure.
for sure.
Top geese on record.
Top use of geese. Well done. But this was my selection too, and I'm glad that it's the group selection. Number 1, best UK album, The Precipice by Mastiff. The boys.
Big up.
It warms my heart so much to see how much love this record got this year. It's amazing. I really think that Mastiff came into their own on this record. Like, they've always been a good band and I've always really enjoyed what they do, but it really feels to me like they became like a fantastic band on this album.
Yeah, there was a pep in the step on this record. There was a shift into a more energetic sort of delivery.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know, we loved the low and slow. We got into it because of that, but this new energy on this record was fantastic. It was so sick.
Yeah,
they're great guys. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very happy to see that's been voted the top UK record.
Yeah, could not agree more. Big up the boys. And if I was making like a top 10 songs of the year playlist, Serrated would 100% be on that playlist. That is a single for the ages with a fantastic music video. Like, I just think everything with this release and this record for these boys just properly came together in a fantastic way. Yeah, big up The Precipice by Mastiff, best UK album of the year.
Let's do the heaviest album of the year. So the heaviest album of the year, the thing that was the most heavy.
Thank you for clarifying that, because it can get confusing.
Not the heaviest
not
album
our
of the year.
Number 1 album of the year. No, the with an I, Heaviest.
The hardest record. For me, there was a few.
There's a couple of good ones. Son Pantley, respect. That's definitely up where.
The experience on the Son Pantley record, like the first few times when I was listening to it, I was just so full of joy. It's so brilliantly heavy. They definitely sort of switched it up as well, and they included a bit more of a bulldozer energy. Like there was a bit more, bit less like just into the death doom, which is brilliant. But yeah, they kind of in the same way that like Mastiff on The Precipice, like just added in this additional energy, and it's just so fucking heavy. It's just one of the heaviest records I've ever heard, and I love it so much. I love all the inclusions of like all the additional pipes and things, and this whole sort of world they build around it, this brilliant ceremony. Brian Ortiz is actually coming on the pod. I've got him booked. He's coming I think it's going to be about middle Jan. It's all booked, it's done, dusted. It's definitely going to happen.
Hell yeah.
When we were thinking about the records of the year, I listen to this again because it's one of the things that I've enjoyed the most this year. But I was like sort of walking around. I was walking the dog and the baby, and I was just like listening to it, and I was sort of half writing an interview in my head as I was going, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to send him a message right now and then give myself something to do and like actually write it out. So yeah, he responded pretty quickly, and it's going to happen. Cool. So that's really, really sick.
Yeah, respect.
So the voting for the heaviest album of the year, in a tie for second place, it got Thou, Umbilical, and Weeping, Spiritual Barbarism.
That's what I was picking. That's my
so happy to see Weeping there.
Spiritual Barbarism by Weeping, I think, is just on another level. In my sort of prep for today, I listened to that album as I was like driving around, and I pulled up and got petrol, and people were genuinely scared. Like you could see the look in the eyes of the people who were like waiting next to me for their pumps. They were honestly like, oh my God, should we go to a different petrol station? Because this one might be about to get like taken out by someone. Someone might be about to run around this petrol station with a knife and take people out. Like, honestly, Spiritual Barbarism by Weeping is it's the vocal performance. It's just absolutely unhinged. Also, big shout out to Antichrist Siege Machine. That would probably be pretty high ones. What's the number 1?
Number 1, first place. It's Knocked Loose. You weren't there before you're supposed to.
Wow.
Fantastic.
I mean, you can't really argue with it. If you kind of go like contextually, bearing in mind how popular it is, then you can sort of like, you know, if it's like an underground band in an underground scene who are like crazy heavy, fair play. But a band who are on the sort of scale and size that Not Least are, being as heavy as they are, almost makes them heavier. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I can see that one. That is
Yeah.
that's absolutely awesome.
Brilliant album, brilliant band doing the right thing, just getting heavier, playing bigger stages, going on Jimmy Kimmel, doing a massive guttural, scaring people. Yeah, it's what it's about, isn't it? It's what it's about. Fantastic. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Right, should we do a genre? Should we jump into a genre? I'm leaving death metal till later. Should we do post?
Let's go to post-hardcore.
Go to post-hardcore.
So for me, I'll be very surprised if it's not the album that I adored so much from this genre. There's not been a huge amount of showing for this genre that I've sort of particularly resonated with me. But so second place is Gouge Away, Deep Sage. That was
excellent,
wasn't it?
That's one of mine.
Fantastic.
That's definitely one of mine. That album's amazing. I've been jamming it a lot more again recently, actually. Like there was when it first came out, I was like obsessed with it. I was listening to it all the time, and then I was sort of thinking like, oh, so what is in the world of post-hardcore that I can flag up? And I kind of feels like most of the stuff I'm flagging up is actually screamo. Like that feels like kind of cheating. Deep Sage by Gouge Away as a return after four. Yeah, so do I, because that's the rest of my categories. So I'm hoping it counts. But there was just this like paranoid noise rock meets kind of Foo Fighters level alt rock with this crazy vocal performance over the top, which is sometimes completely frantic, where she's literally just screaming Stuck in a Dream over and over again till she gets really fragile and really delicate. And I just think that this album is so like okay quality, like it just sounds absolutely amazing. If you kind of go back with Gouge Away to like Gouge Away Dies and you listen to when they were basically like a power violence band to where they are now and what they're doing now, this band have just grown enormously. And Deep Sage is for sure, if we were doing like an old school, like a top 10, it would be in my top 10 albums of the year. Absolutely.
Amazing. First place, State Faults, Children of the Moon.
Respect.
Incredibly well deserved. Yeah. I adored this record. It was just so euphoric and massive and heartfelt, and it was just a brilliant record. I was a little bit disappointed for their previous record, and I feel like this is just miles above anything they've ever done. It's just something that's just so huge. Unreal record. I'm super stoked to see that in the top spot.
Yeah, really great record. I'm happy to call that. Happy to agree. Post-hardcore album of the year, State Faults. That's a really like that's a real like proper undertaking and like a piece of work, isn't it? That's not just like 10-minute and a half songs like you would usually go in this sort of world. Like that's a proper like journey of an album, and I've got a lot of time for it.
Hell yeah. What do you want to do next? Grindcore, maybe?
Oh, maybe let's do a cheeky little bit of grindcore. It feels to me like probably the most already obviously sewn up category on the whole list, maybe even more so than deathcore. But let's do it. Right, grindcore. So, Coagulated Bliss by Full of Hell, number 3.
Nice.
I can totally see that. Like, Full of Hell were a band that I've never really like gelled with that well, to be honest. I've always felt a bit kind of outside when you see everyone banging on about how amazing Full of Hell are, but I feel like Coagulated Bliss is the album that I've kind of got inside with, you know, like I've managed to stop looking in through the window and I'm actually in the party now. Like I've actually been invited now. I'm not just sat on the step drinking my 4-pack of beers on my own and crying. Second place, As Spoken by Noel.
Hell yeah. God,
what a
glad to see that.
That is.
Glad
I'm
to
so
see that
glad
there.
that people remembered that album came out, because I think it came out in January.
Yeah.
That is like Noel are just, I mean, especially having seen them live now, like they almost go beyond music to like a proper like theatrical art experience. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever witnessed, and this album is incredible. Number 1, it's got to be, of course it is,
The Return.
Every Bridge Burning by Nails. Of course it bloody is. He got 33% of the vote, and of course it must have done. It's just having Nails back in our lives. and then coming back with such a phenomenal album. I mean, every Nails album is a phenomenal album, but this album just feels like Nails are having fun. They're like they really enjoyed it. Like it wasn't just I guess we better come back because it's been a while. Like it really feels like Nails wanted to come back because they had this music. Todd had this music in his pocket and he really wanted to share it with the world. And especially seeing like the way he was carrying himself when they were playing at Damnation, how psyched he was. Like famously, he's quite antagonistic and doesn't get on very well with crowds. And he's always known to have a bit of a bad attitude. But I didn't see any of that at Damnation. He was like just full of joy. And why wouldn't he be when his band are Nails and they're as incredible as they are?
Yeah, we have people queuing at your merch thing for like 6 hours. You're going to be a happy lad.
Missing your performance because they're trying to buy your merch. Like,
yeah, because you just dropped a new camo banger and sold about $6,000 worth.
Oh, don't, because it's still making me sad that I didn't get one.
I know.
It's just bumming me out that I didn't get to buy one.
So yeah, that's Grindcore.
Grindcore.
That is Grindcore.
Every Bridge Burning by Nails, incredible
as hell.
Should we go in a bit of a off-piste and do biggest disappointment?
Yes.
Let's just get a little bit neggy for a minute. I mean, I know what my biggest disappointment is. I reckon yours is probably the same thing. But let's see what the biggest disappointment is according to the homies.
My days.
What?
3 albums. So this is a 3 tie into place, right? Kubla Khan is up there. Homies. Come on. What are you saying? Zealanada is my disappointment.
That's the answer.
An actual mile. Just so far away in terms of quality and songwriting and energy and making things that people enjoy.
It just wasn't it, was it?
So devoid of everything that you've come to enjoy from that band.
It just wasn't it. Like, it obviously wasn't the worst album I heard all year, but that isn't the category, is it? The category is disappointment, and a band who I adore and I had really massive hopes and expectations of put out that album that was just so nothing-y, and he's just completely just turned away from everything that made him and his band and his art interesting in favor of just making these really middle of the road, like, boring songs. I was gutted. I still am, actually. I still am. Like, I've not lost hope. Like, if Zealanada do a tour, I'd probably go, because I've not lost hope that, you know, the next record could be amazing. And maybe this album had to happen for that, for the where he goes to and where he ends up to. But in terms of what I wanted to happen, what did happen, biggest disappointment is definitely Zealanada.
Yeah. The other one is Harriet, Devoured by the Mouth of Hell. That's obviously, I think that's always going to be that's just going to be a controversial record in that it's just so phenomenally hyped and may or may not be delivering on what everyone's hoping though. And it's not their fault whatsoever. It's the industry, like, just putting them on this pedestal, and they would have had to deliver like the Knock Loose record for people to not be like that, you know.
I don't think you can hold that against them at all. Like,
no,
that's
not at all.
No, right. Black metal. That's where I'm going to next. Black metal. You're the black metal guy. Has it been a good black metal year? Because I was so far behind, like, my favorite black metal album of the year being just a done deal with one record. Like, there was nothing else in the story for me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I've listened to the most in black metal is absolutely Gieria. Right? Yeah, I think that's absolutely going to be yours.
Yeah,
it's been a genre that I've like classically listened to more of throughout the year. The Spectral Wound record is another one that was phenomenal. So yeah, the second place is Sistvain, A Light's Demise.
Okay. What's that? I've not even heard of that.
I genuinely haven't listened to it, so that's a funny one. So this is, you know, the homies have spoken, and we have homework to do.
I mean, this is what we want. This is what we want.
And it's a tie. So it's a tie for first place between Spectral Wounds, Songs of Blood and Maya, and Gieria, Coma, with a combined 37% of the votes. That is mental.
Respect.
So 2 of the bigger profile like releases that you like in the genre. I'm not surprised to see that be the case. So realistically, between me and you, we're going to have to decide on what it is.
mean,
and I think we're both.
This is where I'm going to like pull out the card earlier, where I let you declare Mathcore. As I'm going to have to declare black metal, which is bizarre to say, really. But Garius Coma has to be the heaviest black metal album of the year, surely.
Yeah, I mean, they took their already phenomenal product, they shook it up a bit, they made it a lot more instantaneous. They were black metal bangers, ridiculous. Like the hype going into hearing this record in full was unreal. There weren't many records that I was as excited by the first single, but like for throughout this year as this. Like this was that when I think it was World Ablaze came out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Dropped with the video. It was like 3 minutes and 59 seconds or something like that. And it wasted 0 seconds and it just was so huge, so beautiful, so energetic.
Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
I'm over the moon.
There's bands that have like really made waves in black metal in the last sort of 10 years. Death Heaven, obviously. They brought like a hipster scene to black metal like nobody's business, and we're still seeing the kind of the payoff of that now. And then obviously Behemoth, they came around, they took what they did and they just took it to a big stage. I think it was around the Satanist, wasn't it, when everyone was suddenly, oh my god, Behemoth wow, what a band. And then, Behemoth have gone off the boil because Nurgle likes to just say a load of stupid shit on the internet and people aren't sure how to take him, whether he's taking a mick or whether he's serious or what's going on. But I really believe that Geria could be the next black metal band to really like make waves in mainstream metal. And Coma is the album that they needed to make to continue that journey. And they have. Like this album, it's just making black metal feel like something that you don't have to paint your face in corpse paint and live in the woods to be able to be a part of. And I think that's really important. Like, obviously, it's a genre that's quite highly gate kept. And it feels to me like Garia have like smashed those gates open. And hopefully, long may it continue. I'd love to see them play like Download. I think it'd be really cool to get Garia on the main stage at Download, wouldn't it? Like, they'd kill it because they're so like frenetic and exciting to watch live, which is not historically what happens in black metal music. I mean, we went to Fortress this year and Gary were the band. They did more on stage by about 100%, about 100 times than any other band that played. And I'm not saying every other band was boring. I'm just saying that Gary were just like on a whole separate level to everybody else.
Yeah, it separated them so massively, and
Absolutely,
it just got my excitement levels up for the record so much more. And yeah, it's been one of my favorite things of the year. Yeah. It was probably one of the main reasons it took me so long to start listening to that Better Lovers record, because it came out at the same time and I was just like, I could go and listen to that, but it means I'd have to stop listening to this.
I can't listen to this again. Yeah.
And that's just not happening right now.
I can understand that. I can understand why that would be an issue. Back into our awards, I think that we should probably look at best artwork.
Yes, let's do it.
Best artwork. The Heavyists have chosen Absolute Elsewhere by Blood Incantation.
I massively agree.
Is it on the wall yet? No, it's there, ready to go. Let's just show everyone. And that version of it might even be cooler than the actual artwork, because it's kind of like pop arty almost.
It's like this. It's like the blacklight style thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be on the wall while you were smoking doobies in the 70s, wouldn't it? Which is exactly the perfect thing. And it's incredible. And also, it has one of the best podcast thumbnail edits of the year as well, with you putting my face onto a pyramid.
That made me so happy. Made me so happy. I did it. I done it like maybe 2 weeks before, because I had the idea and I wanted to see if I could do it. And I just couldn't stop. Look, I would just like tweak it and make it a little bit better and get it a little bit better and a little bit better. And then I would just look at it and like, I couldn't stop. I'd like go downstairs and I'd show Jolene. I'd be like, look at that. This has just made me.
You just kept finessing
my
it.
enjoyment. I couldn't stop enjoying the picture of you as a pyramid.
Mate, that is a killer choice. If I love it. Like, it's my profile picture on Instagram. It's my picture in Discord now. Like, I can't get enough of it. I think it's incredible.
So good.
If we're talking about what I selected, my favourite was actually "Suffer and Become" by Vitriol. I love that sort of.
Oh, yeah.
It's painted, but it kind of has almost like a pop art style of the snakes coming through the rib cage of a skeleton, and it looks absolutely awesome. It was painted by a guy called Dylan Humphreys. I think it's a really incredible piece of art. Also, shout out Undeath. That's another one that's fantastic.
Yeah, I nearly had Undeath, and then I was like, I can't do Undeath. I've literally spent about over £100 getting that thing together and getting it framed. If that's not going to be my thing of the year, I'm an idiot.
You're an absolute muppet, yeah.
But Undeath was just that visual of the split head is just so cool,
and the way the
it was on the white background as well. It just popped. It was so sick.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, album art of the year, Absolute Elsewhere by Blood Incantation. Hard to argue. Fantastic piece.
Right. EP of the year. In a tie for third place, it's Greyhaven, Stereo Grief, and Walking Wounded, Bestial Condemnation.
Both definitely massive ones for me. There were so many EPs that came out this year that are all, particularly Greyhaven. I mean, I love Greyhaven. It's hilarious that Many Eyes and Better Lovers aren't in here for me at all, whereas Greyhaven are. That makes me kind of laugh to myself a little bit. That I think they're just the future of that sound, and one of the best bands that we've got out there at the moment.
Yeah, the EP was brilliant from them as well. Didn't really expect it. Super strong, collection of some of the best songs they've written. Exactly what you want from still a relatively young band that's sort of got a very cool, unique sound, and they're just working on it. They're just getting better. It was nice to see that they didn't feel that they needed to do a full length. I like that. I like that. This is them. You get the sense they're very much in the dojo,
Yeah, absolutely.
They're in the dojo, brother.
Yeah, man. And it's just like a little belly tickle, just a little belly tickle. What is coming from this band in the future? I can't wait. I can't wait to see them next month. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
And Walking Wounded run-in makes me very, very happy. This run-in makes me so happy, man. So second place is Counterparts, Heaven Let Them Die.
Yes.
We both love this EP.
So good.
What a return to form, or not even a return to form, because it's an evolution. It's like they've never been this hard before.
No.
It's a great little sidestep.
It's a really good. I think it's a really strong move for them to kind of try and leave melodic hardcore behind, because it's not a sound that anyone's really that interested in anymore. But they, obviously they're still quite high, because a lot of the retro kind of MySpacey hardcore stuff is still knocking about, the MySpacey metalcore stuff, still knocking about. So they're kind of going, don't forget we're the fucking bollocks at that sound. Plus we can go as crazy heavy. Don't forget that our singer's in End, guys. He's the man. Yeah. Just that whole, the recipe of what came together to create that incredible EP of just some of the hardest music that band has ever written. Awesome piece of work. Yeah.
I am so happy with this first place. It's Big Ass Truck, dude.
Big ass demo. Big Ass Truck. That's my favorite EP of the year, man.
Yeah, me too, brother.
So good. Just brilliant.
They've just made such a brilliant impression. They there's a lot of comedy in what they do, and it's so hard that it's just got no business being that funny and that hard. There's some secret sauce at play here, and I'm just so happy for it, man.
It's hilarious. This is like a bedroom demo as well. The fact that it's as good as it is when it's just one guy mucking about with a laptop, essentially just creating this 100% grade A USDA approved beef. You just can't. And they've also put out another 2-track of even better songs since as well. Big Ass Truck are going to be massive. Just take a second and remember what The Gospel by Knock Loose sounds like. Watch out for Big Ass Truck. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what I am saying.
I want to sort of. So I think that think about how big Sangui Sugabog are, right? And and they're very much a jokey band. This is, we could, and they've done really good. They've absolutely permeated the culture, right? Sanguisugabog, like they're just known for being
people
dudes that have a
from
laugh.
The fucking NFL are shouting out Sanguisugabog and shit. Like,
yeah. So like I'm very much of the opinion that like Big Ass Truck can be like the next Sanguisugabog, and I'm just so here for it. They're incredible, and that demo is by far my favorite EP of the year. So I'm really, really happy.
Me too.
I think that the vote in there is phenomenal. Greyhaven and Walking Wounded at third, second Counterparts, first Big Ass Truck. I couldn't have done it better myself. I'm very, very stoked here, dudes.
Totally agree.
Everybody, you did well here. This is great.
Right, barbecue album
100%.
of the year, Sunshine.
Barbecue album of the year.
If you lived in the UK, there was about 1 week of like nice weather, so it was difficult to kind of get a barbecue album of the year because you didn't get to really have any barbecues. At least I didn't.
Yeah, but it's been something that we talk about on the podcast for years, whether or not something's a barbecue album. Something that can go down well outdoors with a sizzling. There are a lot of different submissions here, but one album was particularly popular, and it is Slope, Freak Dreams.
Yes.
That's the go. It's the one, mate. It's the one. It's definitely the one I voted for.
Hell yeah, man. It's the album that makes you feel like you're riding a longboard in California whilst wearing a Hawaiian shirt. It couldn't be more of a perfect barbecue album of the year, really. It was absolutely my choice. It was, again, a field of one for me. Incredible. Such a sunshiny album. Like I say, in a year where the weather was absolutely crap, especially if you live in the UK. And it brought sunshine to your days when it was actually raining outside. Freak Dreams by Slope. Incredible, incredible record. Really loved it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man.
So, best vocal performance.
Vocal performance of the year.
So, this is a 2-horse race. And I'm sure you can probably name the 2 horses without looking at it. Second place, Brian Garris. That means number 1.
That means the number 1 is who? It's your boy.
Joe.
Joe Bad, your boy.
Outdoing himself. A man that's got some of the strongest performances on records. Potentially delivered his best performance on this record, and it is unreal. We've seen them live multiple times. They are the real deal. They're the best.
Incredible.
We've already talked about how much we love Fit for an Autopsy.
Yeah.
But specifically, he is an absolute freak. He's a brilliant vocalist. He's been exploring his more melodic angles in songs through the last few, and it's just evolving phenomenally.
Well, that's exactly it, isn't it? Like you're saying, because you've got Brian in number 2, and Brian, like, you look at him, you look at how does that sound come out of a person? Like, it's so scary that it terrified loads of normies when they were on Jimmy Kimmel and they had to take to the internet and go, "This was awful. I can't believe I had to let my child saw this. They're gonna be having nightmares for months." Like, but he kind of does his thing and he has his sound and he does it and it's amazing. But Joe's just like a technician as well, and like he's got an incredible signature style and an incredible signature sound. But he, especially on this record, he was really like just trying stuff and just making plays and just improving and leveling up in every kind of aspect of what he does. And he's the absolute king, and it makes perfect sense that he would be the recipient of vocal performance of the year.
Yeah, big up. All right, we're getting down. We've only got a few more left. We've got metalcore, death metal. We've got album of the year. So for metalcore, great third place here. Third place is a tie between 156 Silence, People Watching, a phenomenal album.
Yes.
And Foreign Hands, What's Left Unsaid. An album that we ate a whole mess of humble pie on because we've sort of we weren't sold on Foreign Hands previously. But this record is I listened to this again. I listened to this record actually yesterday in Tesco's. Which we're recording on the 23rd, so it was the 22nd. It was Sunday the 22nd in Big Tesco's.
My God.
I was basically fighting people to Foreign Hands, and it was phenomenal.
I mean, I can't really imagine a better soundtrack to having to deal with that absolute ordeal of going to the supermarket on the last weekend before Christmas. Like, I bet that was intense. Yeah, both those albums are amazing. Like 156 Silence, and both of them are on my short list of favorite metalcore records of the year. Particularly want to shout out 156 Silence as just really growing and becoming the band that I don't even think that either of us really saw them getting to this point. When we first come across their first thing, when it was like, was it Undercover Scumbag, when we were talking about that, like fucking like 6 years ago. Jesus, we've been doing this a while, haven't we? Neither of us would have ever gone, oh my God, there's a band that you could play the main stage of Download at all. Not in a million years. And now look at them.
They are really, they're just evolving brilliantly, aren't they? Yeah. They're just doing all the right things, and they put out records, dude. They do not stop. They are in the dojo, dude. They own the dojo.
They own it.
They actually just own the dojo. They sleep there.
They are Sensei dojo. Johnny Lawrence, mate. They are absolutely like.
Second place, show favourites, Boundaries. Death is Little More.
Yes.
Boundaries are just a beautiful, beautiful band that we adore. They are right head and shoulders above most of the revivalist metalcore you can put your ears against. Big Matty McDougs,
man.
One of the just most solid vocalists out there. He's got it. This record was brilliant.
Just does everything with his entire chest. Like he's just like, you believe every single sound that comes out of that man's mouth, because he's just really so convincing and so true. And I think that's why Boundaries, for me, just sort of sit like a tier above a lot of the other bands in their scene. They're incredible. And this is another really awesome album, like adding that extra string to their bow with melody that's really strong, with Nathan Fielder on drums. I can't remember the guy's real name, but he looks just like Nathan Fielder.
The chorus in the Boundaries song, Easily Erased, top chorus. It's my favourite song chorus of the year by 10 miles.
Yeah, I'll probably agree with you.
First place?
Gotta be.
It's Not Loose, motherfucker. 34% of the votes. You won't go before you're supposed to. Knocked Loose. Beautiful, brilliant album. We've talked about it already, how fantastic this record was.
It's just ludicrous how a band this confrontational can be as big as they are. Like, it defies convention, and long may it continue, and long may they be playing more primetime TV slots and scaring the population of America. Like, what a band. Not Loose.
Seldom in history will a band play Coachella one year and then put out a heavier record next year. I don't think that's a...
Yeah, if anybody could show me an example of that happening any time ever before, I would love for you to do it. Honestly, incredible. And Suffocate, again, if I was to make a 10 favourite songs of the year playlist, Suffocate's absolutely in there. It made me have a whole new perspective on Poppy as well, which is an extra added bonus. Like, it was my gym song. It was my 50 calories on the assault bike challenge was okay. So my base level was Suffocate, so I need to get faster than that. Like, it's been an important track and an important album by an important band. You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to by Not Least, Metalcore album of the year. That was easy winner all day long.
Yeah, all day long. Okay, death metal.
Right, this is the one. This is the one for 2024. Death metal has just been absolutely insane this year. So many of our most hyped bands have been on an album cycle this year, and they've been following up stuff that we've been really excited about. I think it's been one of the, I really feel like I'm absolutely in the trenches with death metal now, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, we're just so lucky to be. The genre is just at this incredible point right now where you have so many brilliant bands in active album cycles. If we didn't get this year, it's probably coming next year. Frozen Soul's definitely got to drop something next year. Sure. We're just in this brilliant thing where this old school death metal sort of movement has come, it's sort of ripened, and we're just constantly barraged with fantastic new follow-ups to all these people sort of one-upping each other.
That's it. And all of these bands,
we're winning.
All of these bands are in that point as well, where it's now time to sort of prove why they are where they are. We've got past the point where just being a new exciting death metal band isn't enough anymore. You've got to really kind of back it up with something. And I really believe that there's a lot of bands who have genuinely done that. And I
Mhm.
feel like I know where this top 3 is going, but I hope that it goes the way I want it to. Right, hit us, son.
So a tie on third. It's a 3-way tie in third, actually.
Wow.
Fulci, Duckface Killings.
Okay.
Fantastic record. Undeath, More Insane.
Yes.
Brilliant step up.
Yes,
Brilliant
yes.
step up. The cleaner production did it wonders. It
You finally get to hear
such a fantastic record.
That's it, man. You just finally get to hear them in all of their glory. Like, it was like, I think Tom said it when we reviewed the album when we came on the show. It's like, this is what they sound like live, but now they finally sound like it on record too. And you can kind of marry the two up properly. And I think it really helped the band to just level up to be amazing. And More Insane by Undeath is one of my favorite records this year, man. I fucking loved it.
So the other one is Vitriol, Suffer and Become in the third place. Brilliant.
Okay.
Very, very stoked to see that
That's
up
cool.
there.
That's cool.
Yeah, one of the most ridiculous onslaughts this year, and it was so sick. I've been well on that band for a while, and this new record was so bloody good.
It's so awesome. It just makes you laugh, doesn't it? Like, you just listen to it, you're like, what? Like, laughing is the only way that you can react. The only way your body understands to react to something like that. Amazing.
Yeah. Number 2, second place, Gatecreeper, Dark Superstition.
Yes, this is going exactly how I thought it was going to.
Had to be.
Dark Superstition. This was my favourite album of the year for quite a large portion of the year. Like, something came on later on in the year that overtook it, but this was my favourite one. And like, it's just the perfect way for Gatecreeper to take that next step up, to just move into those bigger venues and kind of just really, like, it kind of felt like they were sort of maybe getting forgotten a little bit compared to, stuff bands like Undeath, like 200 Stab Wounds coming ahead and being like, everyone's like, oh, these are the new, like, these are the hype bands, even Sanguisugabog. And then Gatecreeper have just gone, on my beer, bitch. And then out comes Dark Superstition, incredible stadium death metal record.
Yeah, the application of the Melodeath here just elevated things. They're still very much who they are, but they've just written bangers. They've written an album of absolute bloody bangers, and seeing them at Damnation was phenomenal. Yeah. Seeing Caught in the Treads live, it just made so much sense. Seeing them on that stage, that size, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
So they're number 1, first place, with 29% of the overall votes in the category. Blood Incantation, Absolute Elsewhere. Hell yes. Had to be, dude. Had to be.
Had to be.
I have, like, internally been trying to, because there's 2 different vibes, right? When it comes to, like, trying to decide for me which one I wanted to be, it was like Gatecreeper's like, it's an album when I stick on in the car and I'm going to listen to 3 just absolute rages before I get to somewhere. Like, it's been an album that I have used so much this year, and I have enjoyed it so much. But Blood Incantation is just a whole different beast that is at the same time so creatively, like, adventurous, but also successful. Like, it tries so much, but nails 100% of it at the same time. It's just...
That's a very good way of putting it.
It's a brilliant, beautiful, massive, massive record.
It's incredible, man. Like, I think it's going to be... I mean, it's very unanimously loved. Like, it's got really high... I mean, it was Metal Hammer's album of the year. It's got really high up in, like, places even like the bloody Guardian and stuff where, they're not just talking about metal. It's just like... I think if you look at the albums of 2024, how many of them are going to be like all-time classics? How many of these albums that we've been talking about today are going to be all-time classics? Like, maybe a couple, but this is definitely one of them. This is definitely one of those albums that people 100%. Are going to still be talking about in 10, 20 years' time. Also, did you see the documentary, the making of documentary?
No, I've kind of been saving it for myself. So I was really busy last week with work, and then I've just been quite full on since. I'm kind of like kicking into Christmas mode, like, as of today.
Yeah, fair.
So, like, I've been sort of saving it for myself when I get a little sit down with a little glass of port over the Christmas.
That's right. So that will give you like a whole extra level of appreciation of this album, just from the sheer fucking nerdiness of them, of how studious they are. Like, there's a bit in the documentary where they go record shopping, and Morris, I think it's Morris, sits and actually genuinely considers buying a record that costs €1,000 that he openly admits he already owns 2 other copies of, just because this one's a first pressing. Like, that's the kind of people that Blood Incantation are, right? And I think that just shows what they're working with when it comes to their music. They're so obsessive about what they're doing, and the result speaks for itself. Absolutely. Elsewhere by Blood Incantation, incredible record, and definitely death metal album of the year, easily.
Yeah, fantastic. Such a ridiculously strong showing in the genre this year. So sick. Yeah, Blood Incantation. So next, what we have an interesting one. So this is for the people in the Discord. This is for the homies, and this is the Heavyist. So this award basically goes to the person who had the most submissions that ended up winning their respective categories.
Okay.
So
the everyman, the people's champion.
The people's champ. This is the people's champ. In a tie for third place, each of them having 7 winning submissions, it's Mitch and Andy.
Big up yourselves. Big up the boys.
Second place, 13 winning submissions. It's Steve. Not Steve B. Sorry, Steve B. A different Steve.
Not Steve. A different Steve. Well done, Steve.
Well done, Steve. And it's me. And first place with 14 winning submissions, it's me. So I am the heaviest.
That's cheating.
Maybe it shouldn't have been allowed to be me.
You definitely shouldn't have been allowed.
Steve.
Yeah, give it to Big Steve. This is probably a good point as well to just say thank you so much to Toby for crunching the numbers. Really, really appreciate it, mate. Like, it's really awesome of you.
Really appreciate it.
Like, this is something that I've had to do in previous years, and it stressed me out to high hell. So I really appreciate being able to defer it to somebody else. And yeah it's awesome what you do. Thank you.
I really like the way that we've done it. I think this has worked really well. Definitely could tweak it in the future. I think I was worried about, is there like too many? But I think we've kept this to a nice little time. I think we've moved along quite nicely, and I think I really do enjoy this way of doing it, rather than like giving out random, like, this is just number 17. Like,
so arbitrary, isn't it?
Just apples and oranges. I like comparing apples and apples, and this has been lovely.
So going into albums.
Big
of
up
the
yourselves.
Year.
Big up Steve. Big up Mitch. Big up Andy. Big up Toby for doing it. So this is album of the year. Album of the year. So, okay, right. In third, it's a tie between Candy, It's Inside You, and State Fault's Children of the Moon.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Well done, homie.
That's crazy. That's really cool.
Great.
That's not what I was expecting at all. That's quite surprising.
No. Second place, Blood Incantation, Absolute Elsewhere. I thought that would have been up on number 1 as mate.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
And the winner of 2024 Heaviest Discord Album of the Year is Crippling Alcoholism with Love from a Padded Room.
Amazing.
Yes.
Oh, it's been so cool just watching everybody get behind that band and that release this year. Like, it was something we were just all I swear, on the day that it came out, it was just reams and reams of everyone just saying, oh my God, this fucking album. Like, oh man, Heaviest Album of the Year, Crippling Alcoholism. I love that. Absolutely. I am
so stoked with that. I love that it's an album. There's no breakdowns on it. There's no mosh pits, but we are all just completely agreed that it's a beautiful, brilliant, weird, dark album.
It's heavy, but in a completely different way to the way that we would normally classify stuff as being heavy. Like, it's emotionally heavy. Like, you would never think an album by a band called Crippling Alcoholism about a concept record about the different people on death row waiting to get. You just never would have expected that to happen up against all of the bands that have released sick riffs this year. But that just says it all, doesn't it?
Knock Loose.
And it. The things that have been beaten to get to Crippling Alcoholism being the album of the year from the Heaviest Discord is it's just incredible, and
I love that. I'm so stoked.
It just makes me love our Discord and our listeners even more than I already did.
There's every single one of these categories that I went through, I was there wasn't really anything that I was like, oh God, what are you up to, guys? This is I'm just so stoked with you all. You're all awesome. You've obviously got phenomenal taste.
Absolutely. You guys rule. And I guess we'll leave it there, right, son? That was a lot of fun. It's been a great year.
It's been a lovely year.
We
should just have do a bit of a round off. I wanted to just like say thank you for listening still, everybody. We've been, it's been a bit of a weird year for us where we've sort of like been trying slightly new things where we're pushed into video finally.
Yeah.
Do you know how long I was trying to get Gary to do video for? For like years. I've been like, mate, can we do? And he didn't want to do it, did you? But how much fun have we had doing this?
I feel so stupid like putting it off for so long. Like as long as I keep my hat on my head, actually it's fine. And I don't know why I resisted it for so long. And I've loved it. Even like doing the Linkin Park video and getting loads of people moaning at us online. I enjoyed that. That was still fun. Like I really like that. Maybe we should do a few more of those in the new year. Just throwing in a few bits and pieces that are clearly for the algorithm, but will be a lot of fun anyway.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed like it as a platform for like just doing slightly different things instead of doing like what we normally do. Yeah, like doing a little album review here or there, or like, you know, like doing like the body count video, like the body count, like covering that was great because it wouldn't have really ever listened to it. But now with this, like, and I still like we're going to tweak like how we do things, I think, and like, you know, maybe there'll be more straight reviews and obviously we're doing interviews and stuff now.
Yeah.
Had a lot of really good response to
I was going to say big up to
Anthony.
Big up on that, man. I really enjoyed that. That was good.
I was so happy when I came off it, and before it I was really nervous. I like chugged a beer downstairs before we started, and I was like, I didn't think I was going to get this nervous, and I was really excited for you to see it. Like I was like I came off it, and I was buzzing, mate. I was
man, it was great.
And so we've got a bunch of cool interviews. We've got like
don't spoil any of them.
No.
Don't spoil them. Keep them.
Won't do. We'll keep them in. Yeah, it's going to be great.
It's going to be more fun in 2025. Just because Sonny's now procreated doesn't mean we're not going to be having more fun in 2025.
Yes, we're going to be having more fun. Yeah, it's been great. Yeah. Anything else you want to say, Gary?
Love you all. See you soon.
Love you all. See you soon. Nice one for doing all the votes. You're all amazing. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.